On today's video, we're going to be working on this AC. Before I come to an AC call, the first thing I do is I come out here to the condensing unit. When I came here, I went inside the unit. I saw that the thermostat was set to cool auto. The temperature the set point was set below what it was in the ambient in the apartment. But when I inspected my thermostat, it was set properly. When I came out here, I checked my condensing unit and I could just feel the heat radiating from my compressor. So at this point, I do know that the system was running, but the problem is the compressor overheated, and once it overheats, you have to cool it down. So I disconnected my disconnect. I let the system sit here for about 40 minutes. As I said, I did remove my disconnect from the fuse, and we're just gonna leave it right here. Once you pull your disconnect, this will kill the 240 volts that's coming from the circuit breaker to your condensing unit. The first thing I always instruct my technicians is to come here, remove the panel. You can see I put it on the side, and we're gonna inspect our components here in the panel. Once I look at my contactor, I can see right away that my contactor is engaged. The thermostat is sending the voltage to my contactor. This tells me right now that I do have my signal coming from my thermostat to my contactor. If I was to lose power from my disconnect, you can see here, if I was to lose power from my thermostat, these are my low voltage wires, I remove them from my contactor, you can see that the button depresses. Here, I'm going to tap it, push it in, and you'll see that it'll pop in. So I do know right now that my contactor is getting the proper voltage to engage my contactor. The first thing I always recommend for any technician is to just do a general inspection of the components. My contactor looks good. I do see a few spider webs here, but nothing that would cause my system to fail. This is going to be my dual capacitor. What happened was whoever installed the system, they used a dual capacitor for the compressor, but instead of putting the fan motor here for it to run on one system, they separated it and put another capacitor here at the bottom. Put my gauges onto my high and my low side, and then I'll push my disconnect and pull it in, and we're going to see how our condensing unit responds, just so you can get an idea as we're doing a diagnostic on the system. So right now I'm going to connect my gauges to the condensing unit. Right now you can see I do not have my gauges connected. This is why my needles are at 0. Once I plug my gauges or connect my gauges to my condensing unit, I should see the needles move. This would indicate to me that my system does have refrigerant. So right now this is my high side. And you're going to see I'm not going to put it in all the way, but I'm tying it in right now, and you'll see once I put it in, you can see my gauges do move. Right now I'm putting in my low side, and you can see my needle retarded all the way. So at this point I do know my system does have refrigerant, and what's going to happen is I'm going to plug in my disconnect. I'm going to look at my gauges just to ensure that my compressor is running. As I said, my thermostat is on. I set it to 72 degrees as the set temperature. I have my thermostat set to auto and cool. I'm going to plug my disconnect, and now we're going to inspect our condensing. And you can see right away my fan motor isn't operating. And when you inspect my gauges, you can see that my compressor is running. So here we're going to pull our disconnect. At this point, we know right now, initially, upon just initial inspection, our fan motor is the issue. And this is one particular reason why whenever I put in reversible fan motors, I tend not to, if I don't have to run the wires into the panel. These wires are weatherproof, which means you can wrap them around the exterior of the cage. The reason I prefer that is because here, if you were to look at the system, you just see a bunch of wires, a capacitor, a contactor. But if you look a little bit closer, you can see here that the reason our fan motor isn't powering is because of the wiring. On this video, we're just going to replace the capacitor. I have many videos showing you how to eliminate your small capacitor and rewire it here to your dual capacitor, but just for a demonstration, a lot of people are going to see this and they might not be comfortable putting all the wiring, cutting the wires, and then eliminating it and putting it onto the dual capacitor. So I'm gonna show you how easy it is. Right now we're just gonna replace this, and you can see here all of this oil that's starting to leak. So here I remove my wires. I cut off the burnt portion of our wires. So I just basically strip the wire, put my new terminal here on, and then just make sure I pinch it so that the wire is nice and secure. And now we're simply going to install our new capacitor. Just make sure that when you look at your capacitor that the MFDs match what you're replacing. Now that I've replaced my capacitor from my fan motor, again, this is my gauges. I'm gonna go ahead and put my disconnect in. And you can see here that my system is starting to equalize. Here you can see the condensing unit of the system is up and running. These videos and these posts just to help you. If you're new to the industry, don't get discouraged, don't get overwhelmed. You can use your multimeter, you can use your gauges, and you should learn how to use them. But a lot of times, just some general AC calls, the first thing that I do is I pull the panel, press my contactor, make sure my thermostat and my AC is set to auto and cool, make sure the set temperature is down below the ambient inside the apartment. And once I do that, then I'm able to slowly move through my troubleshooting. But a lot of times you'll find when you're working on ACs, once you pull that panel and you press that contactor, you'll find the problem right away. If this video was a help, if it was informational, please subscribe.